If you're critical of police and happen to live in Alabama, you might want to be careful what you post on social media, because if we've seen, the cops will be coming for you. So now this is according to a damning report from AL.com. They found that an Alabama police department was found monitoring social media posts for critics and then targeting them with harassment and threats. So now, wait a minute. This is on social media. How can they do this? Don't you have something called the First Amendment? You know, the thing that protects you against police for coming after you for having an opinion online, even if it's a negative opinion of police. Apparently, the Brookside Police Chief Mike Jones had no idea what the First Amendment was. It's funny because he's supposed to be a police officer or a police chief, but more likely, of course, he didn't care and was actually trying to protect his racket. Now, let me get to the details of the report to explain what I'm talking about. So now, in this report, AL.com cited numerous accounts of harassment, intimidation by officers, and retaliation against critics of the police and their ticketing policies. So look, this police department had been going on a massive ticketing spree. And I'll give you the numbers of that later on, because it's really amazing how much money they extorted, especially from such a small town. So now first, before we go to that, let me give you an example of the kind of harassment that people had faced. Now, one of them was Michelle Jones. So now she had filed a complaint against the department back in 2019. She was caught up in a fraudulent ticket scheme, right? So now police had claimed that she had ran a stop sign. She did not. So she fought the ticket. After, of course, paying the fine, she spoke out against, like, hey, I didn't actually do this. This was BS. I didn't run the stop sign. In fact, the place where I was alleged to have run a stop sign wasn't even in the jurisdiction of Brookside. But I got a ticket anyway. And so after she had complained about that, she said that a person had contacted her and threatened her with arrest. So here's what they told her. That they were going to arrest her if she did not take down her Facebook pictures and posts of Brookside's police officers, stop sending emails to local politicians, asking them to investigate and stop this racket, as well as others, and show them that Brookside police, that I understand law enforcement practices. Oh, so you pleb, you normal person, you civilian, you don't understand. You understand practices of the police. We know more than you. And we say that you break the law and that you got to get punished for it. Again, Jones was ticketed in May of 2019 and insists that she had not run a stop sign, and also claims that the incident happened outside the jurisdiction, but still paid that $160 fine, which is a lot of money for a lot of people. Now, afterwards, she began complaining to public officials, a local TV station, and also Jones, who defended the stop outside of town. When she began complaining to officials, Jones defended the stop, by saying that, no, it was a completely illegal thing to do. For me to stop you, it was a correct call. You were in the wrong. I was in the right. Go ahead and complain. Go ahead and complain. And if you keep complaining, well, we're going to come after you. Now, the situation escalated after she had warned about a police trap. She said, Detective Johnson had called me and asked that I come to the Brookside Police Department to talk to them. She told the Attorney General's office. After I told him that I would not, he reported that they have 2 warrants for my arrest. He stated that I issued threats and incited a riot and slandered the Brookside Police Department in my Facebook posts. He reported that his police chief was mad. Oh, he was mad. Oh, he was mad. Oh, he caught feelings from your social media posts, calling out your bullshit. Again, First Amendment, she's absolutely right to criticize them. We're supposed to have freedom of speech. Total bullshit. There's more details. According to the newspaper and the investigation, others have reported similar experiences, including Alabama Senate candidate Lisa Ward, who said Jones tried to intimidate her after sharing a report on the department's ticketing practices on Facebook. And a Brookside man told AL.com that he was pulled over again a couple of days after complaining on Facebook about his own ticket for running a stop sign, allegedly. The chief's pretty upset about that post you put on Facebook, the man said an officer had told him. Any more backlash like that towards this police department, and it'll be far worse than a ticket. So right there, that's a threat. The man who did not want to have his name published because he fears retaliation said he was in quote-unquote pure shock. I just stared at him. I was looking at him like, so this is what this stop is about? Well, I mean, of course. How dare you? You hurt an officer's fee-fees. He is very, very upset with you. No, what he's upset about is people talking badly and exposing his money-making scheme. This is amazing. According to the report, even though there's just 6 miles of road in town, this is an incredibly tiny town of about 1,200 residents. And yet, this police department had collected over $600,000 in fines and forfeitures in 1 year alone. A town of 1,200, the police department got $600,000. Holy shit. You know how many cars they had patrolling? 10. They had 10 vehicles patrolling 6 miles of road, trying to catch everybody for tiny little or even made up offenses. There were so many tickets that were given out that on days when municipal court is held, the roads and the parking lots were filled with people going to pay their tickets. They had to have police direct traffic around those places. So busy. I mean, that's just absolutely insane. Now, the city, as a result of this, and this is excellent journalism, by the way, the city faces now at least 5 federal lawsuits from its policing, and officials are even asking for the Justice Department and the state attorneys general to get involved. Now, all the attention, by the way, from all of this has led to Jones resigning from his position. You know what that tells me? That tells me dude knows he's guilty. He knows exactly what he did wrong. He knows what he did to the community that he was supposed to be in charge of the safety of. He used them, extorted them to fill his department coffers. Incredibly gross. Incredibly gross. So look, he has resigned. That doesn't mean that this should be over. No, there needs to be consequences. There needs to be accountability for all of this. And of course, restitution for this town that has been terrorized by these corrupt cops.